New Thought Media Network proudly presents Having Courageous Conversations, where real talk dives deep. Each week we go beyond surface talk. We open our hearts, speak our truths, and dive into the stories that shape us. No scripts, no filters, just powerful, unforgettable conversations about life, purpose, healing, and truth. Join the conversation, because your voice belongs here. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out our YouTube channel at Having Courageous Conversations or email us at yourshowyourvoice@gmail.com. Now, let's have a courageous conversation.
The views and opinions of our guest and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of New Thought Media Network, or any organization we may be affiliated with. Here at New Thought Media Network, we welcome freedom of speech and courageous conversations. There are many topics that can be difficult to navigate. Challenging the status quo and engaging in lively debate is important to expanding our understanding of one another, and life in general. Creating a peaceful world doesn't happen because no one disagrees, it happens from a willingness to understanding one another. In our programming, we strive to expand consciousness and assist people in creating remarkable lives. Your comments are welcome at info@ntmedia.org.
Thank you for joining us for another courageous conversation where we explore truth, growth, and conscious living. We believe that when we speak from the heart, listen with compassion, and hold space for one another, we create possibilities for healing, growth, and real connection. My name is Cheryl Rogers, and it is my joy to be here with you today. And joining me is my wonderful friend and co-host, Mark Dupuis. And together we are honored to facilitate these powerful conversations with these wonderful guests that say yes to being on the show. So, Mark, I'm going to let you introduce today's guest.
Thank you, Cheryl. With pleasure. Eamon and the two of us were having a conversation before we went live, so it's been a pleasure to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Eamon is the director and minister of the New Thought Men's Community. Their vision is building healthy community. Their vision is building healthy masculinity in the world. Eamon. My goodness, I got to stop and start again. Eamon supports wholeness through heart and soul healing work and creating sacred spaces that nurture and bless community. He finds deep spiritual connection through the New Thought spiritual philosophy and men's soul work for over 30 years. These experiences have had a profound transformational healing impact on his life. I look forward to digging in there a bit later. And he now shares his wisdom through the New Thought Men's Community. He has led hundreds of men's groups, from the small groups to major retreats, gatherings, and international summits. I think I need to go wash my mouth to get it to work better. His book, The Blessing Circle, is about the future of men's work, connection, community, brotherhood, and powerful belief in the brilliance of ourselves, the future of masculinity, and the blessing of the world. Thank you for joining us, and I gave you a heads up that I was going to poke the bear with a first question. Yeah. So in the intro, what I hear is a lot of men's community, men's soul work, and if we're all one, why is it just with men?
Great question. There is the paradox, right? There's the paradox that we're one, that we're this spiritual being, that we're one with the cosmos, we're one with everything, we're connected on this deep level, that there is no difference. Sonny Cantrell Smith was on our summit today talking about spirit has no gender. And that's the truth. And then paradoxically, we are these human beings with these neural feedback loops, with this heart, emotional experiences, these mental experiences, these physical, visceral experiences of life that we have going on all around us, and the bumping up against other independent, unique, and different experiences of individuals manifesting, these spirits manifesting as individuals in the world, about 8+ billion of us these days, right? So therein lies the paradox of how do we really honor and bless who we are as this human expression and this human experience, and then also at the same time be able to honor that larger picture of I see you. I understand you. I get you on this soul level. We are the same. We are equal. No one can be more spiritual on that level than another. There is perfect equality there. And so therein lies the challenge for us as human beings, right? To bring that greater wisdom, that divine connection, that part of ourselves that is beyond time, beyond space, that is connected to all the knowingness of the universe and the cosmos. And here we are in these physical bodies and having this human experience. And like you with the intro, I have dyslexia, so I was just loving you in that moment. That's how I read sometimes. So, we all have these quirks and these histories, these upbringings, these impacts and influences, both amazing and incredible, and also painful and traumatic on some levels, as these human expressions, and trying to live our lives and find more joy and happiness and fulfillment and love, abundance in the world. So I
have to say, Eamon, when I first met you, I was so excited that there was somebody who was doing male spirituality, like bringing in the masculine side of the spiritual movement, because I don't know about, many other communities, but certainly in ours, we have a shortage of men in our spiritual community. It's mostly women. And I've seen that in a lot of groups. So I love that you're doing this. So I want to hear from you. What does healthy masculinity mean to you?
That's a great question. And really an individual question on some levels. I mean, on some levels it isn't, because given our current social situation, at least here in America, it's like, okay, we're kind of seeing unhealthy masculinity really playing out very prominently in the press and in other ways. And then, also that is a paradox to what's really going on for most men, I would say, in our community and in the world, who are the 80 or 90% who are about this love, who are about being good human beings, about being loving and kind and nurturing, uplifting this greater experience and understanding of equality, of the deeper principles by which we understand it, which is like there's on the one hand, we are the same. We are a part of this oneness and wholeness with the cosmos. And yet, I have differences in my brain, being a neurodiverse person, but I also have testosterone. I also have all these other experiences of being raised in this society that I was raised in by the parents who were raised by their parents in a certain way. And we have these histories to help us be these individualistics, or the cutting edge of the divine expression, right? On this larger scale, that that's part of our reason, I believe anyhow, for being here, is we are these individual, incredible expressions, so unique and diverse. Like there's not one of us that's the same.
Yeah.
And so it's like we get to celebrate this diversity. And then that's why I think, Spirit loves paradox, because it constantly puts us in these situations where here's your human experience, and we're going to put you as a male on this planet with this kind of, skin color, this philosophy, this, raised in all these influences that you'll take in, and your brain will go, I am this. And then paradoxically, I am infinite. I am stardust. I am, a part of the oneness that the entirety of everything is.
So what led you to men's soul work? What led you to delving into this masculine side of spirituality?
Yeah. Well, as Marg had mentioned, I kind of found this New Thought philosophy and men's work at the same time. And so really delved into that and wanting to understand myself as a man in the world, especially as a spiritual man in the world. I grew up with 3 sisters and a mom who was very present with me in good ways and bad ways, as we all have. And then my dad, who was very much, they were very much in their roles, right? As they were part of the silent generation. So, they were very much like, I'm the dad. I go to work. I'm the provider. I take the trash out. I mow the lawn, and my mom, who was very much, I'm the homemaker. I am, I take care of the kids, and all of those roles. And so, when we're steeped in that, and then I think my generation, I was looking for, because not that my dad wasn't there, he was just very quiet. He was very silent. He was more introverted like myself. My mom was more extroverted. So there were a lot of interesting play going on, even with them in their generation, that were not like, the stereotypical, the guy's supposed to be all extroverted and the female is supposed to be more introverted. And they were way backwards on that. So that's kind of what got modeled for me, as my dad was really focused on work, and he worked a lot to provide for us. I'm so grateful. And they were wonderful parents, for the most part. Really appreciate them. But I think that upbringing and having sisters and not having that outside influence of other men to be able to go, what is the now experience of masculinity? And so when I started to question that and work with that question of who am I as a man, because my dad was a very kind and gentle and loving man, and as we were talking about earlier, very Catholic. My folks were very Catholic. I was brought up Catholic, and so they were. He especially was kind of the very silent type, and which I can relate to. And I even in a lot of ways I took on and still have today. Although you wouldn't know it right now, but I prefer that, I live in the mountains here in Colorado, and I love my isolation. I love my time alone. It helps me rejuvenate. But when I got together in a group of men, and especially started doing retreats and things like that to get in touch with that, I found a men's group. I found a mentor, actually, and he was, of course, brought to me by a woman in the church that I knew. And so even I found men's work through the women through this woman who loved me and wanted the best for me, and introduced me to her friend. And he mentored me and another guy that I knew, and we started a men's group, and that was the beginning of this lifelong journey of being able to want to hear the stories of other men, wanting to hear that wisdom in a non-judgmental way, wanting to be able to share, be loved, be accepted for the more sensitive and tender man that I was, which is, especially in the 80s, it was 90s, it was more contradictory to the stereotypical versions of what masculinity was. And so me being more in touch with my feelings, me being more in touch with my intuition and those kinds of things, and sensitivity, empathy, really, I think, had a huge impact on me and gave me a feeling of like, I don't belong in this box of what masculinity looks like. How do I figure out how to belong, or where I belong, or who I am, or, you know, those ancient questions from the Greek philosophers, who am I and what am I here for? You know, that we all on some level ask ourselves in this journey of life. So I think that was the most powerful thing. And then I have been in men's groups ever since. I was in one men's group for over 25 years. And these are guys that even though our group is no longer together, we still connect on a regular basis, or occasionally when we can, and just check in with each other. And it's brought this just deep love and appreciation for someone who can see me, can appreciate me, can honor me, can love me for exactly where I'm at, and I them. And to be able to have those relationships, even when, like, we had to put an agreement into our group that said, hey, if you get seated, you have to stay seated. Because there were times when people got angry, that fight flight takes over, right? And so we're like, forget you. I don't like what you said, or I'm out the door. Where I learned that I didn't have to fall into those categories of fight or flight or freeze. That I could actually sit in the extreme uncomfortableness at first of having drama or having conflict in a group or with another individual, and to be able to sit in that and go, know that the group is holding that high vision of health and well-being and healing, and they're holding that container, as it were, of that. And for me to be able to express my feelings, the other person be able to express their, hey, I really didn't like what you said. I felt that was very insulting. I'm really pissed off at you right now, and I kind of don't like you. And, to have those conversations and to help have those be facilitated, and then to get to a place where there is resolution. I think in our society, or, for a lot of us, maybe not all, but we don't get that resolution sometimes. We're like, okay, fine, I'm mad at you and I'm just going to go away. And then I'll come back and that'll be the resolution. And that's not true resolution. It holds up our neurological systems. It holds up our nervous systems. It holds up a lot of the emotional processing systems from having a complete cycle and going, okay, that's complete. And so then even that can create some woundings, can create some pain, or even in extreme situations, trauma. So to have that space where I could be seen, I could tell my story, I could be myself, I could ask the questions, we could have conflict, and to be able to learn listening skills. And when it's my turn to talk, I get to talk, and when it's not, I get to through my heart, through loving these individuals, I get to listen, and I get the same witnessing of their life that I got from my life. So there's so much more there to talk about, but I think in general, and at the same time, women's work, women's groups doing the same thing or a similar thing, that when we get seen and witnessed, when we get honored, the healing happens. When we go through those emotional cycles and get to completion, the healing happens. The trauma lessens. It's not sitting in our psyche going, hey, this didn't get completed. So we're able to have a sense of calm, that urgency of look at me, goes away, because we know we're going to be seen, and we know that we're loved. We know that this is the healing process. And then we find more calm in it. We find more calm within ourselves. We find more compassion with other people, learning how hard their lives are, and then find more compassion for our own lives, which then amplifies like love does. When we give it away, we get more of it. So, I think these are the big things as to what the impacts of men's work have done on for me and my life. They've taught me a bunch of skills and wisdom and practices, not to mention actually saving my life. I talked about neurodiversity and being dyslexic as I was growing up, and we didn't know it until I was 30. So I was kind of like on the spectrum, but I wasn't quite enough to go, hey, but I didn't do well in school. So I had a lot of suicidal feelings and experiences, like I don't want to be here. And it was really challenging, and it was very difficult. And even into my, earlier mid-20s, I still had feelings like that. Like, what am I doing here? What's the point of this? Why would I do this? And being that we're talking about suicide, I just want to say the number is 988. You can call that number in the United States and Canada and get help if you're having trouble with suicide right now. So suicidal thoughts or need some support around having healing with that.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I always include, I think we have to include that. So
absolutely.
You brought up suicide, and part of what I was going to ask you, Eamon, in one of your podcasts, I heard you say that there was a very high rate of suicide in men. Is that right now? Is this like
currently right now?
Years, or is there?
Yeah. I don't know that the history. I know it's up right now. Nearly 100 men commit suicide every single day, and almost 15% attempt suicide every day. So 15,000 men attempt suicide every day. And then, of course, we don't want to leave out that 1/5 that are women who are struggling with this as well. And we want to honor that, because when we help anyone, we help everyone. And we obviously would like to have those to be we don't want to have people doing that out of desperation, having thinking there's a permanent solution to a temporary situation, and that they're going to miss out on this amazing experience that life can be when we're actually allowed to heal that pain of separation and that pain of struggle that a lot of people seem to be going through right now. The world is full of change right now, and it's not easy. We're experiencing some real intense birthing pains, definitely here in the United States, of what transition from, maybe the unhealthy masculinity looks like into moving into the spiral upwards, as I like to reference spiral dynamics. We move upward into this greater expression of what does healthy masculinity look like. And I think we're trying to figure that out. And so it's no wonder that the worst parts of masculinity and of men would be showing up right now. And we're seeing it playing out live on the TV, right here now in front of us.
Absolutely.
And I think it's beautiful in a way, but it's also really hard, and it's a real challenge for a lot of people, and especially the economic impacts of things. And when we're talking about survival and, basic survival needs, it just makes that much tougher.
So I just want to let people know, because first of all, welcome to everybody who is here and making comments. If you think that you're alone watching, or there's only a few of you, know that this show is being broadcast on many different channels. So we have different people watching in different places. New Thought Media Network, Unity Kitchener, I believe ANTN as well, or that's coming, so this show is being broadcast in many different areas So if you think you're alone, you're not. So just wanted to say that. Well, yeah, you brought up, because I was going to say to you, what do you think the reason is that so many males feel the need or the want to escape this reality? But I think you basically answered that by saying, economics, unhealthy masculinity. Are there any other reasons that maybe we don't think of, that perhaps men are sensitive to, that make them not want to be here?
Boy, that's a question, isn't it? It's a great question, Cheryl.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it were just that simple and we could just give people money and that would solve the problem, that would be one thing.
Yeah.
But it's a deeper thing. It involves the psyche. It involves our upbringing. It involves the stereotypes that men are this. I feel probably one of the biggest challenges and also one of the biggest traumas, and thusly the trauma that keeps on expressing itself through those individuals are, in the past, men have not been able to express themselves emotionally. And so we see this very narrow band of emotions that men, at least in the past, and I think it's changing, but it's a slow change. When you're talking societal changes, it's always the slow change. But men are okay expressing their anger. Men are okay expressing love if it's with an individual. Men are and this is something that's so, it hurts my heart almost, because it's an experience. It's a shutdown experience, not only from typically parents, but also society, our peers at 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. Men don't cry. All of those cliches, grow up, cowboy up, man up. All of those cliches that we have, that are actually subtle ways of manipulating men to shut their emotions down. And anytime any of us go, I'm going to push that down, I'm not going to feel that, right? It puts it internally. It creates tension and often creates a shadow that we're not supposed to do it. That's not supposed to happen. That's not okay.
Yeah.
And we learned that at a very young age. And a part of that is our history, like thousands and thousands of years of men going to war. And that's how you prepare for war. You shut those emotions down so you don't want to see guys crying on a battlefield, right? That's ineffective. And so, for thousands of years, we've had this going on. This is a part of almost our DNA on some level, to be able to stand and to be the strong one and to all of these things. I remember Brene Brown was talking to people after a sharing, and a guy came up to her and said, you didn't talk about any guys and, expressing their authenticity and who they really are. Why is that? And she's like, well, I don't include men in my her study. And so he's like, well, isn't that convenient? And he went on to say, my wife and girls would rather see me die, fall off of that white horse, than be looked at as less than, or not this man that I am. And so there's illusion, there's expectation, there's this thing that happens about needing to shut that down. And even in relationships, for me anyhow, I can't speak to anybody else's, but it's like, for me, I try and be this, hey, wholeness, I want to express my wholeness. And even in relationships, it's like, well, I want you to be in that role of men. And I want you to be strong for me. I want you to do these things. But then where do I get Where do I get heard?
So it's not allowing men to be vulnerable and express their emotions.
Yeah.
I cannot believe this, but we are actually halfway through the show.
Okay.
So don't go away. We're going to have a short break. And wow, this conversation, I think, could actually not just be one show. It could go on. It could be a series. So don't go away. We'll be right back with more on building a healthy masculinity and Reverend Eamon Duffy.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Well, welcome back to having
We're back.
Conversations. Yes, we're back. Marg.
Marg, okay. So I just want to clarify, I was poking the bear at the beginning, and I understand the importance of having masculinity, men's spirit group. Oh my goodness, here I am talking about spirit groups. Yes, I understand that, and I understand that you have a broad, open sense of being in the world. I just wanted to poke it a bit just to get you speaking of it. Community. I understand that you are big on community, and can you speak to that and how being in a male community, I'm going to say, is it like a support group almost?
Yeah.
Any community.
I guess what I'm hearing is that what does a men's group look like? Is that a question?
Yes, and the importance of community to you. So yes, the men's group, and then broader than that, yeah, community.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I appreciate that. And to kind of just complete as we kind of before we left, I think what we're really seeking is emotional wholeness for men, for women, for everyone to be their whole self. And I think those boxes that society would stick us in, or that our past or our programming would stick us in, no longer serves. And I think that's what these future generations, these younger generations, give me so much hope. And not that all of them are doing that, but definitely some of them, even more than my generation, are doing that, is really honoring that emotionality in their kids, in young men, being able to express, seeing these younger guys will just go up and hug each other, and I just love it. I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It took me a long time and a lot of assistance to get my dad to finally hug me and tell me I love him. It took me several months, which is actually not a long time, considering that was his whole life experience. He didn't hug other guys. So I think there's hope with this emotional wholeness, especially for all of us, for men and women. But to
so
answer,
before you go on, and I love Mark's questions, and I really want to hear I just have one comment about what you're talking about right now. We all have a masculine and a feminine side of us, right? We all have that, whether we're male or female. Some are more male, then have more male testosterone and all those kind of things. And so I think what we're talking about here is emotional balance, right? Or the balance between our female and masculine energy that creates wholeness, which is what you were speaking to, being whole. But I don't want to take up more time, because I love what Mark asked about the importance of community for men's healing, basically, and what does a group look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's great. It's a great question to be able to have or be in a men's group. I would say some of the structure, let me speak to the structure real quick. Some of the structure is, just finding, 7 or 10 or 12 guys, 5 guys, 2 guys, and getting together and really creating some otherworldly space. The space that we're not normally in during our regular daytime hours. Like, hey, we have all these kinds of conversations in our day. We can even tell our stories over and over again, but people don't really hear it or take it in the same way as we do in a men's group. We create a separate space. We evoke, we create that safe environment through which we're able to communicate this deeper, more authentic self. Without that safety in any relationship is the biggest piece. To have that, you're either building trust in a relationship or you're eroding trust in a relationship on some levels. And it's not, ever that simple in some ways, but we want to be building trust in a continual way, in a continual manner, and to be able to express that, to have that in a group where you can sit and go, okay, let's do an opening. Okay, let's call in this, the 7 directions. Let's call in our higher selves and our guardians, our guides, our allies, even our ancestors, this genetic lineage that we're a part of, and to call that in and then go, yeah, hey, what's going on for you? And everybody's like, oh yeah, my week was like, it was great, or it was challenging, or it was, here's what's going on. And then, be able to take a second round and go, okay, what's on your heart? What's really going on for you? Like big picture, like heart and mind, like share your challenge with us. And then being able to even move that into a place of how can we bless you? How can we put this into a ritual? How can we take this and really honor it, or provide a tool, or provide some support, or even wisdom, if that's what they're asking for. If they're wanting feedback, guys have to ask for it. We make them ask for it, because we don't ask for help as men. Like, we don't even ask for directions, right? Thank goodness for the for us, especially as men, to be able to go, okay, I need help. And it takes sometimes getting to that extreme experience of, I am really struggling here. I am in so much pain that it's more painful to not ask for help than to say, hey, I'm struggling. I need some support here. And so, that intimacy, that connection with other men, I think provides that. I think especially for straight guys to have a place where they don't have to poof up our chests. We don't have to look attractive. We don't have to look like I have it all together. It's a great lie that we like to promote, or that our society likes to promote. No, it's ridiculous to think that that we aren't experiencing the same thing that every other human on this planet is experiencing, which is we have an emotional body, we have a mental body, we have a physical body, we have a spiritual body, we have an energetic body, we have all of these expressions in a very complex, being that we are. We are very complex in such beautiful and challenging ways. And so to say, I don't need to be this rugged individual, I don't need to have this I've got it all together scenario, that I can think my way out of anything, is just not true at all. It doesn't honor our wholeness, and it denies something within us from being expressed, and then that causes pain, that causes trauma, that causes struggle, that causes all those things. And so by having this men's group to be able to be this authentic individual and have this safe place, especially in our New Thought communities, the spiritual men with like-minded other men, that's the men's group that I love. That's any group that I love, but that's especially the men's group that I love. And what that larger picture looks like is when a bunch of men's groups get together, a bunch of men get together. We have a gathering every year that we do. It used to be live before the pandemic. We're trying to get back to the live version, but we have done it online because it's so amazing for us to just get together and for us to practice. Let's put them in a dyad. Let me get in a dyad with one other guy and talk for 20 minutes, 10 minutes each, and talk about these deeper things. And then maybe even have a small group that's talking about these deeper things, and having someone who has expertise and has worked on their tools and has worked on their wisdom, has worked on their processes, it can come in and share those things. And then we get to practice them. I think that's the biggest thing in men's groups. And guys ask me this all the time. Well, why would I want a regular men's group? Why wouldn't I just show up when I have a problem? Because we're building skills. We're building skills that equate to the rest of our lives. We're building listening skills. We're building communication skills. We're building compassion skills. We're building the ability to really hear people and listen, not just wait for our turn to voice whatever we need to voice. Practice taking the armor off, right? That all of us have in this world these days, and be able to expose the tender heart and not have it get stabbed and not have it get made fun of or beat up or whatever. To be able to have that heart space where we can say, yeah, man, this is challenging. And then even larger than this, and this is what the New Thought men's community is creating, is a men's movement in New Thought. We're not just about, although we have men's groups online, because some people don't have access to men's groups, or they're either leading a men's group and they want a place to do their own work. But for them to have that live men's groups where they can get hugs, where they can have the experience, is such a beautiful thing. But this larger experience of being able to provide that space, the training as leaders of men, as leaders in general, that's about the movement aspect of what we're doing. And how do we hold that not only in a men's work, in a personal integration, shadow work, all of the stuff that men's work has traditionally done, but holding it in that new thought context of like, yeah, let's do a treatment around this. Let's do a healing around this. Let's do a blessing around this. That spiritual component of a group of if we look at, oh shoot, I forgot her name, The Power of Eight. Which, I mean, doesn't need to be 8. It's just a bunch of people getting together. And when you have 7 other people around you, or however many around you, holding that high vision and knowing that, not being in denial of what's going on or what's happening. We want to be real and authentic, has to be the first thing. But to be able to hold that high vision that we do in New Thought and this philosophy, that's the thing. That's the gravy. That's the beauty. That's the incredible exponential experience of healing, of blessing, of being seen, of being loved, of being heard, opening that heart, opening us up to that greater good. And, when anyone moves more into their wholeness, when anyone moves more into their fullness, into their healed self, into that divine self that we truly are, that we embody that more, it just exponentially grows from there. It's contagious, and it doesn't matter, men or women, all of us, when that's modeled, like Marianne Williams says, it's our light, not our darkness that we're afraid of. So when that light comes on, that's when the magic happens. And then we just see that every time we do gatherings, every time, even online, we see just this beauty and just these mystical, these beyond explanation healing happen. And I think that's the deeper thing of us is, and the deeper meaning behind men's work or women's work, gender work in particular, or even you mentioned spirit circles, where we come together as men and women and do some healing work together. Anytime we're modeling that, we're able to get more in touch with that. It indoctrinates us into that. Oh, that's right. I am this divine being. I'm not limited to this body. I have infinite knowledge at my fingertips. I have this wholeness and this beauty and this love in me that is, beyond imagining. And let me try and get more in touch with that. Then we're really modeling healthy humanhood, healthy masculinity, healthy femininity, healthy personhood, which, the world.
I just need to ask you said about gatherings. I just wanted to, are you online and in person, or do you do hybrid, or?
Yeah, it's definitely hybrid stuff that we're doing these days. And especially since the pandemic, we used to do our gatherings live, and we're in the process of getting back to that. But right now, most of our stuff is online. We also have rite of passage programs that we're developing that we'll be sharing in the near future, in the next few years. That will be a hybrid version of that. So we'll have a rite of passage experience that'll be live. But then, as we know, it's not about meditating once, right? It's about meditating and building a practice. So, for those kinds of groups, which is rite of passages, it's like a whole 9-month or year-long process of meeting with these people and going through this experience. Like I was given in my 30s, a rite of passage that was just beautiful and powerful and allowed me and my psyche to be able to go, oh yes, I'm moving into a more mature version of that, of masculinity, where I'm going to let go of the immature aspects of being a teenager or being a young man, and release those to be able to step into this greater awareness of being, an adult, a full-on adulting. And how do I show up in that?
How do men come to be part of these groups? Do you find you have a lot of men's groups? You have a few? Is there a certain type of man who or a certain time in their life? Like, how are men attracted to want to be a part of a group?
Unfortunately, in some respects, men as human beings do need to be pushed. It needs to be more uncomfortable. So we see a lot of guys showing up and wanting other men in their life or men's group in their life when they're going through a divorce, especially when they're going through a job change or transition of some kind, when they're having these challenges with being here on planet Earth, they're having financial challenges or just any challenge that feels overwhelming to them, like, oh, this rugged individual thing, I can't actually solve this myself as much as we can look it up on YouTube these days. There is a necessary component of me being with other people, and especially with men who get it, who have gone through the hell, to say, yeah, man, I've been there, you know, or I've been there in my own way, and I honor your path. You know, tell us more. And then how we find these groups is in New Thought and beyond. You know, my book, The Blessing Circle, I basically tell my story of how men's work has impacted me in a lot of ways, but how to start a men's group. So what we provide as the New Thought men's community is not only you can be an individual member. And if you're just an individual, hey, I want to be a part of a men's group. And in that membership, you get to show up to our men's group every single week if you want, or more. And, you know, and then there's the other aspect of that is a community membership within us. And the community membership gives the minister and any guy who wants to start a men's group in their community access to all of these videos. We have hundreds of videos right now in our library that do exactly what we've been talking about. They have an opening meditation. What we're doing in the summit, we're building this library. They have an opening meditation. They have a talk about something: forgiveness, love, happiness, struggles, financial, you know, whatever it is, abundance. And then a closing blessing so that men can get together. They can do their meditation. They can do their check-in. They can watch the video and discuss it and start building trust between them, and then have a closing. So even a guy who is fairly new to New Thought, is fairly new to Unity or the Centers for Spiritual Living or UFBL or, you know, independent metaphysical centers, we have access to this, and they can choose the topic. The group can choose the topic and what they want to work with. So that's one way of creating men's groups. And there are other men's groups out there. So we're not the only one. We're definitely the one in New Thought that's creating men's groups. Yeah, you can see our Sunday circles and our Monday circles for men.
Oh, cool.
Our leadership training.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff, you know, and we have so many guys who are leaders of men's groups in their spiritual communities who come to us and go, how can I get more training? How can I have a deeper understanding? How can I learn to create rituals? How can we, you know, think outside the box? And they're just a guy who's new, a practitioner, even ministers who come and go, hey, how can we do this in our community?
So as we're coming to an end, which it's crazy. Like Marg even messaged me like, wow. How can women and non-male allies support men?
Yeah. You know, like I said, I found men's work through a woman who encouraged me. And so, you know, men listen to women. The women that express, that are caring towards them, the women who can come to husband, son, nephew, you know, friend, you know, someone at work, I don't that you know well, you know, and be able to say, hey, did you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think biggest thing.
Yeah.
And of course, we're all inclusive, here in the New Thought community, as well as the New Thought men's community. So, straight, gay, bisexual, transgender men, if you identify as a male and are wanting to do the deeper work, because that's what we're about. We're about doing the deeper work. This isn't a social club. There are lots of guys who do have social clubs, and that's fine. But to do the deeper work and do the healing so that we can be free of these pains instead of sitting in it, for me is what I'm ready to do.
Right.
That's what we want to do. And that's what. So.
Yeah. Beautiful. Wonderful. I think the work that you're doing is really so important in today's day and age. And I noticed that you also on your website help you have I don't know what you call it, a program or something that helps other ministries or places develop their own men's program.
Yes.
Which is also, so you're furthering the work out into communities and the world, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful,
absolutely.
Beautiful.
It's right there on our website. So if you are a minister or a guy in your community that wants this work, we always want to work with our ministers, with the people who are in charge of your community. But that's one of the things that we do as a movement. That's what we provide. So,
beautiful.
So in 2 minutes or less, what would you like to leave the audience with?
I would say times of change are difficult, and to be kind and compassionate first and foremost to ourselves always. To do our daily spiritual practices, to steep ourselves in that higher vision of that which we are. And that way, when we go out, we're resonating and vibrating at that higher frequency. And so people who bump into that energy are enlivened by it, or maybe they're pushed away by it if they're not ready for it. But most, I think, are enlivened by it. And for us as human beings right now, our whole planet's struggling. And it brings heartache. I think none of us who look at what's going on can't help but feel empathy and compassion for every level and every gender and every experience that people are having around the world right now. And so the more we can do our inner healing work, the more we can show up as that light in the world that we are here to really be, in my experience and in my belief. So shine your light brightly. Be the one who inspires.
Thank you.
And nurtures.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheryl.
Thank you. It was a great time. Great.
I'm just like I mentioned before, I'm really overjoyed to know that there are things like masculine groups happening where it doesn't matter whether you're straight or gay or that you can come together and learn from each other and support each other and grow spiritually. So I just love that, and I think my takeaway is that I now have a place where I can say to a male person in my life or who comes to Unity, did you know that there is such a thing? So it's a wonderful resource, I think, as well.
Thank you.
What about you, Mark?
This part of the show I find difficult to answer because I'm a processor. So I will take the show away with me and process and go, oh, I've learned this, or I would have said that. So I'll say that I enjoyed our conversation with you today, and I see the passion expressing in your eyes. So thank you for sharing, all of you, with us today.
Yes,
thank you, Mark. Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah. Really wonderful conversation.
Thank you for joining us. It's been truly wonderful. So I'd like to invite our viewers to share, like, and subscribe, and join us next week again at the same time. And thank you all for being part of this courageous conversation. See you next week. Bye.
Bye for now.